everybody, John here from Incomesh.com, and today I have a special guest with me here on the YouTube channel, on Facebook Live, or wherever you're listening to this content. And so just a quick background here. You know that I'm all about data-driven marketing. You know, if you can't put a number to it, if you can't analyze and understand what you're doing, you're just throwing spaghetti against the wall. And my friend here, Adam Lacey, he is the founder and one of the main ideas and brains behind a new software coming out called Split Hero, which I'll let him introduce to you guys. But essentially, this is one of the things that so many marketers have been waiting for and praying for to come to WordPress. And I'm just so kind of excited and honored to have him here on the channel. So Adam, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, John, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. So yeah, my name's Adam. I'm the founder of Split Hero. We launched early 2019, and we are an A/B split testing platform for WordPress.
Fantastic. Now, that makes a ton of sense to me, but there's some out there that might not even know what an A/B split test is. So can you explain just the 30,000-foot view of what that is and kind of why it's important?
Yeah, for sure. So A/B split testing, or, you know, there's a few versions of it, but normally A/B testing or split testing is the common ones. So it's basically having more than one version of a page. So you have your standard page, which we normally call a control page, and then you have a variation. And basically it's comparing those to your audience and seeing which one your audience prefers, which leads to more conversions for your business, whether that's email sign-ups, you know, inquiries, anything like that. So really it's comparing two variations of something and seeing which one performs better.
That's awesome. And like I said, I've done split testing. Anything that I want to test, I want to make sure I get the most out of it. So that's one of those fundamental habits that I think is important for marketers to take on. However, it can be really complicated to do a split test. I know there's tools out there that you can run them, but you know, and I think I'm a pretty bright guy, but sometimes I'll be kind of crossing my fingers. Like, I hope I set everything up. So is there a problem in the market right now with how, like, the landscape of split testing with WordPress, and where do you kind of come in? Where does Split Hero fit in that puzzle?
Yeah, for sure. So for me, I was exactly like you. I've done it. I've used Google Optimize, which is free, which, you know, it's great being free. But on the flip side of that, it's really complex to set up, and there's a lot of fiddly bits to do. Vice versa, there's some really, really great software out there, but it's also very expensive as well. So you kind of have the free option, which is really complex, or you go the expensive option, which can still be complex. So there's nowhere really in the middle. And that was our whole point of creating Split Hero. I wanted something that would be dead easy to use and dead quick as well, because time's money. You don't want to spend like half a day setting up a campaign. You want to get it set up and just be done with it. And that's what we're all about.
Fantastic. Now, why did you choose WordPress as the place to kind of launch Split Hero? Because I know that, you know, there are the ClickFunnels out there and other software as a service that have kind of functionality built in. Why did you pick the WordPress user base as the place to launch your product?
Yeah, sure. So, I mean, WordPress is obviously, as we all know, massive now. It's only getting bigger and bigger. And the biggest issue has always been some of these more advanced things like split testing is obviously just not built in. There's some plugins that do it kind of, but I've been a WordPress agency for about 7 years now, and it's a need I directly had. It's a need that I knew all my friends in the industry needed as well. So it kind of went hand in hand with that. I think that's really where it come from. We saw the gap in the market, saw the need in WordPress, and went for it. And to be honest, what we were looking to do is we were looking to actually take people away from ClickFunnels, because we found a lot of people had WordPress sites and then they'll still go sign up for Instapage, ClickFunnels, all this kind of stuff. When I'd ask them why, like, it's always obviously down to the marketing hype they get, but generally speaking, they want to do like split testing and a few of the other more advanced things, but then they get stuck with the ugly look of ClickFunnels. So we're like, if you're using page builders or whatever you like in WordPress anyway, we're saying, fine, stick to what you know, build it however you want to build it. And as long as it's WordPress, will take care of the complicated bit for you. So that was kind of the idea around it. So you don't have to worry about paying so much for third-party stuff, and kind of you can stick to what you know.
Yeah, I love that, because when I go and I set up clients, I want to make sure I set them up for success. And so sometimes you feel like you're pigeonholed into choosing certain tools amongst a very small there's so many tools in WordPress, but they don't all offer the functionality you need. And sometimes, if I really want to focus on conversion optimization, if I'm working in WordPress, I'm leaning towards Thrive Themes and Thrive Optimize and Thrive, because they have that functionality built in. But sometimes that page builder, the tool set, it just isn't right for that client, but I need that piece. So with Split Hero, I understand you can pick and choose. So how do you do that? If somebody's using Elementor or Astra or the different tool sets, how can you kind of agnostically work with anything on WordPress? How does that work?
Yeah, so basically we just work based off the WordPress structure of URLs and stuff like that. So all the redirects are based around the URL. So however that URL is built doesn't really matter to us. All we're going to do is dynamically serve up the URLs in the campaign and split the traffic evenly, and collect the data from those URLs. So it's really that simple. Well, I'll make it sound simple. It wasn't when we built it, but we make it sound simple. So yeah, that's the benefit of, like you say, over Thrive Themes. Obviously, like you say, because you might have a great client or potential great client, but they're using Elementor, and you're like, I don't really want to change their whole site for the sake of just this. And that's where we step in as well.
And that's fantastic. And I know, guys, we're kind of diving deep into URL splitting and some technical details here, but understand like the fundamentals of what we're talking about. We're able to take any two pages, and here's what's kind of beautiful about this. You could say, hey, you're using maybe, let's say, an older page builder with a client, and he came in and the tool set he has isn't great. You don't have to try to sell him right off the bat of, hey, I think you should upgrade to Elementor or upgrade to this, and these are the benefits. You can actually take what they already have, and then you can create, as the agent or as the client server, you can create something in Elementor or Thrive, and you can split test those two together and actually show, hey, not only is it easier and faster to build feature content in here, but I can show you the data that says this actually performs better, and you don't have to interrupt what the client has already on there. So it's a fantastic opportunity to be able to offer services at kind of a lower risk to the client, because you don't have to mess with what they already have. You can create split tests and kind of do an A/B to see which is performing better, which I think is a fantastic opportunity.
Yeah, I always think it's a good way to gain trust with the client as well, because I mean, we've all had clients before that, they're a bit apprehensive about getting maybe their whole site done, but we know it kind of needs to be done. So a good way to sort of get your foot in the door is to say, okay, hey, you've got your site, you're not happy with it. Why don't we create a landing page for you, and we'll run a split test between your homepage and our landing page. And then once you show them the results and how much better yours performs, it's a no-brainer for the client. It straight away, that barrier's gone. You've got your foot in the door, the trust's already built. So when you come to do a proposal and speccing out and doing the discovery of the project, that's it. It's a no-brainer. They already trust you.
That's a beautiful thing right there, because oftentimes clients will be very strong-willed. They think they will know what is right for them, and they just want to give you a list of requirements and have you knock it out. But you, as the agent, you really should be that thought leader and the consultant, not just arguing with the client, because if it's your gut feel versus their gut feel, that's a useless argument to have. But if you can bring some data in and just ask them to have their mind opened and say, hey, this will be a risk-free trial for you. Let me run a split test. I think I have a better solution for you. This is what you've asked me to do. Maybe I'll do it for you, but I'll also do what I think is right, and let's compare them back and forth. Have you had some conversations like that with your clients?
Absolutely. Like you say, the problem is if you're sitting in a meeting, and I am fairly strong-willed in some ways, if you're sitting in a meeting, like you're saying, you're both just going to butt heads and say you both think your idea is right. And like you say, if you show that data, it just takes the egos out of it completely. You're sitting there and you're saying, okay, so my way. I mean, also be willing to concede, though, if their version, for whatever reason, does do better. You have to hold your hands up and go, okay, no problem, and move forward in that direction. It's all about, just agreeing with whatever the data says. But if the data comes back in most cases where your version's better, and you can say like, hey, because of this, we've got you 10 times more leads. What version do you want to go with? They're obviously going to want the more leads. So it's as simple as that.
Absolutely. So for the beginners out there, they might not know even where to get started when it comes to split testing. So I know you've mentioned you've been an agency owner and operator for several years before. When you first got started, and can I help people if they've never started split testing and they're considering, hey, this sounds interesting, but I wouldn't even know where to get started. What are some of the key beginner tips you can give folks when it comes to being successful with split testing?
Yeah, I would say spend some time and use it on your own site is
Mhm.
always my recommendation. So try it out on your own site. And there are some great resources out there. There's actually some very technical resources which go a bit too over the top into the technical side, which you don't really need to know. But nothing beats first-hand experience. So there's some great beginner articles out there. Read some blog posts. I try and publish every couple of weeks, if not once a month, some key information about split testing for beginners. I keep it really casual as well, so you can pick up some, useful tips like that if you're just getting started as well. So we're trying to educate people slowly into don't be scared of it. Everyone knows they should be doing it. Don't shy away from it. Just jump in, and you're not going to really go too far wrong. There's nothing catastrophic that's going to happen. If you do a test and one version ends up being quite bad, so what? You found out that page performs a lot better, and you carry on. That's the worst that can ever happen.
Absolutely. So let me tack on top of that. So let's say you launch a test on Monday and you come in Tuesday, one day later, and you start to see, oh, version A has 3 conversions, but version B has 0 conversions. Should the beginner or should the agent stop that test right then and say, okay, I clearly have a winner. It's performing infinitely better than this other version. Or obviously I'm making this kind of silly, but what are some of those pitfalls that you see that people fall into when it comes to split testing?
Yeah, so it's things exactly like you said. People don't leave it long enough. So I actually like campaigns to be at least a minimum of a month. Ideally, if you have enough, it all depends on the amount of traffic as well, to be honest. But if you maybe towards on the lower end of traffic, then you want to run it for something like 3 months. And we actually, because when we first had the platform, we had the results. We always showed the data, but we had like a winning formula we show at the end of a campaign that showed all the time. So every day, depending on what was performing better, to show you the winning version in our platform. And we quickly realized people get too far ahead of themselves, like you just said. And they're like 2 days in, they're like, okay, yeah, let's stop this. And you have to leave it longer. So we don't actually show that winning formula until the end of the campaign now. For that exact reason. So it tends to be not letting things run long enough and not having enough traffic as well, probably the 2 biggest pitfalls.
Right. The world is so addicted to instant gratification. They want to go ahead and see how are
Yeah.
things doing every second of the day. And unfortunately, split testing is one of those things that, what you're seeking to get is statistical significance. You don't want to just see that, hey, one is performing at 51%, one's performing at 49%. You want to actually let the data speak and listen to it to where you say, okay, I actually know that this is a better performing thing, because randomness, if you only let it go for 1 week, maybe one of those days was a holiday, or there's something going on that could drastically impact your performance. So the 14-day minimum, at least it shows there's a lot of ways you can spread that results out to make sure you get some significance in there. So
Absolutely.
for beginners who have little traffic, is split testing something that they shouldn't even worry about at that point? Or what's your advice to the beginners who don't really have enough to be able to say, hey, I can get 1,000 page views in a day easily. Let me run some split tests.
Yeah, so I do recommend traffic to be in the high hundreds to low thousands, but it also depends on the quality of traffic. If your
Mm-hmm.
traffic tends to be of higher quality, then you can afford to go a little bit lower in your traffic estimates. And like I say, but you might have low traffic and you might say, right, okay, I'm going to split test because I'm going to run a Google pay-per-click campaign. And then obviously you're driving that traffic via ads or however you want to drive it. So once you're driving it at some point during a split testing campaign, then it's absolutely fine. But like I say, if you're just relying on it organically and you're not actually going to do anything extra, then you want to be in a sort of 800 to 1,000 remit minimum, 750 around that,
Right. And so, I'm looking here at the, switching gears here a little bit, I'm looking at the interface of Split Hero. And, for those of us who have seen other interfaces and kind of been like, oh my gosh, what the heck is going on here? Split Hero is a breath of fresh air. I will, put some screenshots and things like that in the show notes of this video so you can kind of take a look behind the scenes, or you can just go to splithero.com and check it out there. So I can tell you've put a lot of time and work and effort into just the user experience of the software. Can you kind of tell me what the inspiration was, kind of what drove you to go this route? Because when you're dealing with data, so many people can get they can want to go the route of spreadsheets and charts and graphs everywhere,
yeah.
and data overwhelm. So what kind of led the inspiration for how you present the data with Split Hero?
Sure. So what I call it is a lot of the other platforms struggle with analysis paralysis. So there's too much data. You don't really. The problem with split testing is also is like some people do it, but then they do nothing with the data or they don't do anything about it. You need to take action. If you don't take action on the results, then obviously it was a complete waste of time. So for us, it was all about we give you the data we need without overwhelming you. So you've got your basics of data. We're always polishing the UI, adding a few little tweaks here and there. But generally speaking, like you say, we've tried to keep it simple and as clean as possible. And personally, I'm a sucker for a good UI on the software I buy. So like there's some great software out there, for example, like Active Campaign. I don't know if you use that yourself. It's super powerful.
Mm-hmm.
The UI is horrible. And they can never onboard me as a client because I just look at it and go, man, I don't even know where to start. So
Mm-hmm.
I just give up. So yeah, like for me, I'm a sucker for a nice UI. It was something that was important to me, but it's all about being simple and tying into that philosophy of just giving you enough control of what you need, showing you what you need, and that's it. And then letting you take action on the results.
That's fantastic. And, I've done some videos that they'll be publishing around the time of this episode here, where I walk through that step-by-step of creating a split test in Split Hero. And what I love about it is you're clicking a couple of buttons to get your test started. You're syncing up your pages, you're selecting your goal. It's really a nice experience. So I mean, in that simplicity, I can only imagine how much complexity it took on your side to make it this easy. So as a SaaS founder, that's an area that I am interested to get into at some point in the future. What's it been like being a SaaS founder, building this up, kind of having that cohort of initial users to kind of drive the experience? Tell us about the experience of being a SaaS founder.
Yeah, it's been a total roller coaster. It's very, in some ways, it's similar to agency work, and in some ways, it's really not. Like, I'm slowly transitioning from my agency work. I don't do half as much as I used to, and purely because I'm spending as much time as possible in growing Split Hero. So I always thought the hard bit was building software and getting it in a stage when it's ready for the public. But that was the easy bit, really. The struggle comes after you've launched, and you're like, I've really got to market this now and get it out there. And that's been the mountain to climb, and that's what we're doing now. But it's a hell of a roller coaster. I definitely recommend it. And for people I'll be open. I didn't develop this myself. I work with another UK developer who's fantastic as part of the team. It's just us two. And honestly, without him, obviously it wouldn't make it happen. Like I must annoy him every day because every week we use ClickUp for our project management, and I just throw in ideas, and I'm just like, we should do this. And he's just like, really? And I'm like, yeah, just do this. It'll be fine. And he's like, do you know how long that'll take? And I was like, I'll be fine. So I chuck all the ideas at him. He makes it happen. So, you don't necessarily have to be a developer yourself to be a founder. I mean, I don't know, have you had a Better Proposals at all? There's a SaaS platform called Better Proposals.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm a Better Proposals customer. Adam, really nice guy, friend of mine, who's the founder of Better Proposals. He's not a developer either. Again, he's just got someone who does it for him, and that's a very successful business. So I'd say if anyone's looking at taking this journey, it's a roller coaster, but don't shy away if you can't build it yourself.
Absolutely. And oftentimes it's the visionaries, the ideas, the ability to take what the market's telling you and synthesize it into what the platform would look like. That's where the foundation of a platform comes. And then if you can clarify, if you have that clear vision, people can develop software. So I think it's a great future. Obviously, it's a wonderful business model if you can get that recurring revenue. And we'll talk about the actual business model of Split here in a second. But just, my hat's off to you for seeing a need, because it truly is a need. If you have 30% plus of the world who runs their websites on WordPress, but then when it comes time to actually let's start making money with our website, now they're abandoning it for other software platforms to be able to do some of the analytics. There's definitely a disconnect. So I know you mentioned that you would like to be able to bring people back into WordPress as kind of their full marketing and business solution there. That's a tall mountain to climb with some of the competitors that are out there. So tell us about kind of the business side of Split Hero. How do you, like, when customers come in, what do they get when they come into Split Hero?
What, from like a paid plan point of view, if they sign up, or?
Yeah, so if I guess let me ask it this way: your avatar, are you looking to bring on agencies to kind of get multiple clients into Split Hero? Is this designed for the individual business owner? Who do you see your perfect customer?
Sure. So generally, our perfect customer is either a savvy business owner themselves. It's more than easy enough to use. I'm sure, as you attest yourself, for them to do themselves. But primarily, we do target small agencies, freelancers, people just getting started in split testing, people who don't want to spend a fortune on the more complex options, and people who don't want to spend lots of time on the other options as well. So yeah, mainly freelancers, small marketing companies, and small agencies as that target audience.
That's a great sweet spot to target. I know that area is where there's, you have to look at your budget and you have to find the effective solutions, but you also need to delight your customer. As much as the largest agencies who can have all the bells and whistles out there, they might have the funds to make all these fancy things, but to be able to bring something that's simple, effective, and they can, chop down on those arguments with your client and say, hey, here are the results. And that's a great market to target there. So you have something kind of special to share, right? So this is in the middle of kind of a special week for you, or at the beginning of this new deal. Do you want to tell the audience a little bit about what's going on from the marketing side and what you're offering with Split Hero here?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is a deal. It's not going to be available on the website. It's only going to be available through people like John, our lovely affiliates. And basically, we're offering our public plan, which is currently priced at $27 a month for $97 lifetime. So that includes unlimited sites, unlimited page views, unlimited visitors. You're going to get all the current features, including new features. We're not going to lock you out of any new features. And you can run free active campaigns at any one time. And that's not locked to a domain. So if you're working with one client or you're doing your own site and you run free campaigns, as soon as they're completed or as soon as you're done with them, you can create free campaigns on another domain or one on one domain, one on another. It's totally flexible to your needs. So this deal is only going to be running for 7 days only. And it's really, I expect it to sell out quick because we have only got a limited number of licenses. But 7 days, we're going to be hitting hard, $97 lifetime. You won't get a deal like that again. I can actually promise you that because it's crazy. And the fact that the more affiliates I speak to, and I'm going to it's $97, they're like, are you sure? Like, do you want to add a bit more to that? I'm like, no, 97, we'll do it. We've got our server spec'd up ready for the influx of users. The only thing I'd say, it's only 2 of us on support and we're on UK time. So any of you US people, bear with us if it's late or early in the morning. But generally speaking, we're ready to go, and we're just looking we're looking to take, although we're offering you a good price and I'm sure you'll get value out of it, we want you to spread the word, and that will help us grow our monthly revenue afterwards. That's the whole plan.
Absolutely. You guys are in that growth phase. You're getting the word out there. You're seeing the platform develop. You have the vision for it. You just need to get that critical mass of the buzz, the talk, the discussion, and this opportunity here is one where you're not founding members because the platform is already up and running, but to be able to get in at the early stage, you can also kind of help direct the direction of this platform and how it develops, what features come in. I know you guys have a public roadmap on your website here. So this is a great time to get into the platform, even if you're not running any split tests right now. If you hear the word Google Optimize or Google Tag Manager and your eyes glaze over and you're like, I don't even want to touch with that, that's because of how it has been to launch these in the past. What you guys are offering is basically, if you can write a WordPress page, if you can even download a plugin and install it, you pretty much have what it takes to be able to use data in your marketing efforts on WordPress. So I think it's an awesome thing. I didn't know there was a limited number of spots, so I'll make sure that I purchase my my license as well to get in there at that deal. So thank you for doing that. I think it's a great strategy for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we're really passionate about our public roadmap as well. It's the first thing. We're totally transparent in what we're doing. We're also transparent with bugs. If we've got a bug, we'll put it out there and say we're going to fix it. Generally speaking, we've only had a couple of major bugs. They've all been squashed. We've had 2 major updates in the last 2 months, including rewriting the whole platform twice. So we've really been hard at work behind the scenes, and now it's time to do that front end a little bit more polish and integrations and stuff like that. So if anyone does want to have a look at the roadmap, it's on the website. But we've got stuff like WooCommerce integration coming in, Cartflows integration. And people can literally just, you don't have to be a customer. You can just click the roadmap, have a look. You can upvote features you think sound like a good idea. So you can put your comments and thoughts into it. You can suggest new ideas. And I personally review every single idea, and I'll tell you if it's rubbish or it's good.
That's fantastic, Adam. I mean, what an amazing, amazing launch plan. Great software, great vision on this. One question I want to ask you is kind of has been bugging me in the back of my head, and some of the more advanced folks out in the audience might be thinking this as well. So one of the considerations when you're running split tests is how do you handle any potential impact on the website speed, on SEO? Help allay some of the fears that might be out there in terms of some of the common concerns that come in with split testing. Does this slow down your site? Is there anything we should be aware of when launching a split test on our website?
Yeah, for sure. So there's a couple of things to be aware of, nothing too complex or major. So from a speed point of view, I believe that everyone's site should be fast anyway. And as long as you've got half decent hosting, with our plugin and everything like that, we like to say we actually have a lot of high usage servers available. We use ultra high capacity servers, which are fairly new and they're absolutely blazing fast. So the impact we've seen is literally 50 to 100 milliseconds. So it's a very, very, very small footprint to the point you won't even notice.
For the benefit of being able to actually know what's working better, that is a tiny hit to take in speed.
Yeah. And then from an SEO point of view, obviously the one thing to be wary of is duplicate content. So if you do have two pages with pretty much the same content and you've only changed the headline or something like that, we just recommend whatever that second version is just to no index that with your SEO plugin of choice. If you're using Yoast SEO or Rank Math or any of the others out there, it's literally normally really simple just to click a button to click it to no index. And that's about it. There's no real other downsides.
That's fantastic. Let me ask you, is there anything else that we didn't talk about today that we probably should have to kind of make sure people understand the vision, the functionality, some of the features of Split Hero? Anything that we didn't cover?
I think we covered a lot of it, but yeah, I mean, our whole idea is around simplicity. So, and we've got documentation. So if you get stuck, I mean, we've got live chat support, like I say, in UK hours. If you get stuck, I'm more than happy to. Also, if you want help in saying, hey, Adam, I don't know, can you give me a recommendation on what to do on this site, for example? I'm happy to jump on live chat and give people recommendations on what they should split test. I love to geek out on this stuff. So yeah, I've got no problems at all helping people. What I would say is, like I say, because we're running this for such a short period of time and it won't be offered again, grab your license now. Even if you think in 6 months you're going to be ready, in 12 months you're going to be ready, get it now. Your account's going to be lifetime, so you're going to not be privy to any price increases or anything like that. And it's really waiting for you then.
I can honestly agree with that statement. I mean, it's one of those things where you're not going to notice $100 out of your pocket a month from now. But if you come down the road a couple months and you don't take the deal up, you'll realize at some point, I really do need to be offering this either to my own website or to my clients. And if your option is, even at the current price point of $27 per month, that is an easy thing to pay, and that's easy for the ROI. There's ROI. If you miss this deal, it still makes sense to purchase Split Hero, obviously. But if you can get in at one lifetime deal, that's only going to serve you, month over month over month. And I can tell you, there have been lifetime deals I was on the fence on, and I didn't click the buy button, like founding ideas where I saw similar vision in software and I didn't make the purchase. And right now I'm kicking myself on some of them because I'm paying a fair amount month over month for certain things that I knew I needed, but I just wasn't ready for at the time. So if you're on the fence, I think it does make a ton of sense to go ahead and get Split Hero. And also, I have a ton of resources on my website and in some courses I have in Income Mesh University about split testing, and I'll make sure that I add some additional content in for Split Hero if you guys go through my link, which is incomemesh.com/Split Hero. And there will be links in the description below as well if you want to take me up on this lifetime deal. I think it makes a ton of sense. And I guess, Adam, just thank you so much for coming on the channel. This has been great. I've enjoyed this conversation. I enjoy your software. The data you can get from it with the minimal amount of complexity and the ease of use, I think you found a sweet spot here. I'm looking at the dashboard, just the gradients, the colors, the design. I can tell you put a lot of effort in this, and that just only says that the future is really bright for Split Hero. So great job building it, man.
I really appreciate that. I'm just going to touch very briefly on the ROI point of view. We actually have a customer signed up for 1 month, $27 a month. He sold just one split testing campaign to a customer for $300. There you go. You've made your money back. So this is like no brainer. But yeah, thank you so much for having me on. I really do appreciate it. And like I said, if anyone wants to reach out with any questions, or they can obviously speak to you and you pass them along, or likewise, hello@splithero.com. They can get me on an email. And yeah, I'm happy to chat.
Perfect. And if you guys have any questions as well, go ahead and leave them in the comments below, whether you're on Facebook, whether on YouTube, wherever you're listening or watching this on the internet. And we'll be sure that if I can't answer personally, I'm sure Adam will pop in and answer some questions as well. It's a big week for Adam, so definitely pay attention and go ahead and pick up your copy of Split here. It'll be a fantastic investment for you. So thanks again, Adam, and I'll see you guys all in the next episode. Take care.